So next up, we have Basin Energy with the ticker code BSN. Basin is a uranium exploration and development company with an interest in 3 highly prospective projects positioned in the southeast corner and margins of the world-renowned Athabasca Basin in Canada. To tell us more, I'm joined by Pete Morehouse.
Yeah, thanks, Jane. Okay, so great to be presenting today. It's really nice to be presenting again alongside a couple of dedicated uranium companies as well, and we've all got our very different stories and value propositions to tell you about. Just to follow on from Murray, here to tell you about the fantastic operating environment of the Athabasca Basin and the almost 10 months of the year that we can drill over there. I'll tell you a little bit about Basin Energy. So unlike our peers, we are a pure play uranium explorer. We were established about 18 months ago, really with the mandate to identify credible uranium opportunities globally. We listed 12 months ago under ticker code BSN. We have a market cap around $10 million. We're fully funded for our next round of exploration, and that includes drilling scheduled for early next year on our Athabasca projects. Look, in the search for credible exploration assets for uranium, bearing in mind this was pre the current focus on the sector, there are some fundamentals that you need to be paramount in your due diligence. And this isn't just technical exploration merits. This isn't just talking about geology. It's talking about explorability. That includes depths, which Maury mentioned about he has in favour in Namibia. And talks about infrastructure and jurisdiction. And to know that you've got a transparent framework for your exploration program. So with that jurisdiction, it's so key to your exploration projects in uranium. And critically with that as well is if you find something, you've got a credible pathway to actually developing it. So that's what we've tried to form. That's what we've focused on. Basin identified and gained interest in 3 exploration assets in the Athabasca Basin itself, and now this is located in northern Canada. For those of you less familiar with it, it's been producing uranium for over 65 years. It's been a top 3 producer of uranium for 45 of those. And the industry really reflects that as well. It's consistently ranked in the top few for mining investment attractiveness in the Fraser Institute. So this is a mature part of the world for uranium mining. Basin's got a nice dedicated team. I'll tell you a little about that in a moment, and a clear systematic approach to our exploration. Here we've got a map of the Athabasca Basin. So the darker grey shows the outline of the basin itself. There's a big sandstone unit. Each of the green dots is a significant deposit or an existing mine. Now, the circles around those give you a feel for the scale, but Basin provides exposure to 3 assets located in the heartland of the mining district. Now, I really like to bring the opportunity of Athabasca back to a Australian-specific exposure. For me, I spent a lot of my time in Northern Australia looking for uranium, and we look at Jabiluka as the standout uranium deposit there. That's about 350 million pounds or so at about 0.4% uranium. The big one in the Athabasca is the McArthur River, 675 million pounds, but it's 17% uranium. Now, the scale of the deposits here, the grade of the deposits here, are why this part of the world has consistently provided uranium mines and been a consistent producer of uranium for so long. So Basin, located in the heartland of this mining district with 3 projects, North Millennium and Marshall, and the project I'll talk to you today is the Geeky project located in the southeast edge. Very quick geology lesson, because this is critical to why we're a little bit different to some of the traditional Athabasca plays. We've got our sandstone unit here, which forms the Athabasca Basin, a younger rock type and an older rock type sitting underneath it. And traditionally, the major deposits have been found at that contact, hosted in the sandstone, or in the basement sitting directly underneath it. And the exploration model was very much to drill to that contact, drill just through it. If you don't hit the grave, move on. Now, the repercussions of that is there's been 65 years of mining. A lot of the targets are now getting very, very deep. So you're pushing down to 1,000 meters, 850,000 meters deep for a lot of the traditional exploration model targets there. In 2013-14, the guys at NextGen discovered the Arrow project. Now, they took a philosophy of looking for the right lithology, the right rock types, and the right structure, and then conducting exploration like we would do in Northern Australia, very similar. But we don't need to be at that contact. They discovered Arrow, which is now the basis of a $4 billion company. Why does that matter to us? Well, that matters to us because this opens up a huge area of ground which has previously been completely overlooked, and that sits on the outskirts of the basin itself, where you have those same key criteria: lithology, structure, and explorability, because this is within the top couple of 100 meters. And that's what we are currently exploring in our geeky project. Where do you explore for when you're looking for uranium? You explore in places which continue to provide significant shareholder returns and exploration success. So we've got a timeline here from 1973 to current day, and each of these views are significant deposits. Now, I do accept that McArthur River skews this because it looks absolutely massive, but each one of these are company-making assets. What I like to draw attention to is post-Fukushima. To me, significant shareholder returns from the uranium space have really come in the Athabasca Basin post-Fukushima, and not a huge amount of other places around the world. We look at Arrow, which was NextGen's discovery. They were an exploration company with $30 million market cap. They're currently a $4 billion company off the back of exploration success. If you get it right, your shareholder return is phenomenal. And more recently, the work at ISO Energy, the Hurricane deposit, again, phenomenal shareholder returns. And the fantastic work that 92E and the team are doing on the eastern side of the basin, continued success even in a very downturn, neglected uranium exploration space. So that's why you're in the Athabasca Basin. I'll run you through our geeky project, which has been the focus of the company to date. So this is looking for what we call basement hosted mineralization, shallow, high-grade opportunities. We're using that Arrow type model, using that NextGen type model. You're looking for the right rock types, you're looking for the right structures, and then you're doing sensible exploration. So Basin to date has done a series of geophysical surveys. We've mapped what we think is the right rock types, and now we've locked into what we believe are the right structures. We've just completed our first drill program. We did 8 holes across 3 prospects. So the Arrow Lake prospect, we did a single hole, and we got our highest grade hit, half a meter at about 0.3%, just shy of 0.3% uranium. We got our Hourglass Lake project where we drilled 2 holes, and our Preston Creek area where we drilled 5. Now, these are significant results. These are significant results because each of these drill holes hit phenomenal amounts of structure, phenomenal amounts of alteration. So if you think back to those key criteria as what we're exploring for, we're looking for a system which has got the right lithotypes and the right structures. The guys doing the technical work have now pinpointed 2 structures which show the scale. They show these 30+ meters of brecciation, of alteration, and they've also got the evidence that there is uranium in these fluids which are causing this system as well. So whilst we're not claiming these are all grade, we're claiming that these structures are the right ones to be chasing. Pretty excited about this, and certainly there's a lot more exploration work to be doing and a very targeted approach for follow-up. Now, we certainly could have kept going, but we did look at what our neighbours have been doing in the area. And one of the things that has worked successfully is when you do have a handle on those structures that are the prospective ones, airborne gravity has been used to map the potential areas of interest. Now, this picks up alteration. What I like to draw people's attention to is on the bottom right of my diagram here, we've got the footprints to scale of these big deposits. So this is a big project area. This is 330 square K of land. So what we decided the best use of our money was to go and do airborne gravity to map these potential alteration systems and then set up for a drill program, which we're working towards now for our winter program. Results for gravity are due in the next week or 2. So we're expecting them literally any day, today or tomorrow, from the contractor. We'll pull those apart. We've already started planning our follow-up drill program. And in summary, 4 of our 8 holes drilled anomalous uranium, which is a pretty good success rate for a first ever greenfields exploration play. We got a little bit of grade. We've got some significant pathfinders, elevated leads, elevated trace metals. We've got scale, 30+ meters of alteration and structure, and we've got the right address. So that's the crux of the company for the next 6 months. We'll be focused on moving hold of Geikie. We also have interests in 2 other projects which we'll be pushing in North Millennium and Marshall, and we can look at the presentations for updates on that. The company is led by me, so I'm Managing Director, uranium exploration geologist by background. Our chair is Blake Steele. So Blake is a corporate background, very strong in the uranium space, was formerly the CEO of Azaga, and now Azaga built up an ISR-focused company in North America. Accumulated a series of assets and was sold to Encore Energy at the start of last year for $200 million. And our technical program is led by Odile Maffray. So Odile was formerly Orano's project lead, formerly based out of Saskatoon, running the Athabasca Basin program. So brings to us a specific Athabasca skill set. Very uranium specific, very direct set of skills, and well positioned to make the most of this sector as we move forward over the next few years. I'll pass back to you, Jane.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Pete. I'll get you to stop sharing your screen and jump into some questions.
Sure.
So as you mentioned earlier on the webinar, it's likely that Russian uranium will be sanctioned. So it's pretty obvious, but how does this position Basin and the Athabasca Basin in general for future uranium supply into North America?
Yeah, absolutely. This goes back to my commentary in the talk there, that jurisdiction's key, and there's a real focus in North America for energy security, for establishing a relatively self-sufficient energy supply. We see Canada pushing its nuclear deployment, but we also see a strong relationship with America in general, using Athabasca uranium to supply the industry there. So Basin is very specific about its jurisdictions. We see that North American space as being a fantastic one to be operating in, and we'll continue to focus on Canada and North America for our opportunities.
Thanks, Pete. And I know it's probably a little bit premature for this one, but with the results of the airborne coming out, but what's the follow-up drill program at Geikie looking like?
It's not premature. The reason being is there's a series of targets that need drilling, and they need drilling very quickly. There is no shortage of places to put a drill rig, but as you'll appreciate with any junior, optimizing your exploration spend is critical. And that's why we've chosen to do this gravity. So we're well funded to do a 3,000 meter-ish drill program kicking off in January, February next year, and we're actively in place putting the wheels in motion for that. That will be the key focus for the company. We're also setting up groundwork to advance the other two projects, North Millennium and Marshall, and we'll update the market on that over the coming weeks.
Thank you, Pete. I'm jumping around a little bit here, but are there any subsidies or grants available for uranium explorers and developers in Canada as North America continues to seek security of critical commodities?
So in Canada and Saskatchewan, there's a series of local government incentives. We are pursuing those actively. There are the opportunities for various funding incentives, but we're not advanced with those at the moment. So I'll leave that one there for now, Jane.
Wonderful. And then just finally, you discussed this as well, but what should shareholders be keeping an eye out for the next 3 to 6 months?
Keep an eye out for the uranium sector being a fantastic place. What a time to be in the uranium space, as to quote a veteran of the industry. Basin will be continuing our exploration in the Athabasca. We've got the information coming out from the gravity survey over the coming weeks. We've got planning for the drill program, further work on North Millennium and Marshall as we continue to really push our North American approach for sensible uranium exploration in good jurisdictions.
Wonderful. Well, Pete, thanks again for the update and for joining us on the panel today. As I mentioned, a copy of today's recording will be available online in the coming days. And if we've missed any of your questions, please feel free to reach out by the contact details on our ASX releases. But thanks again.
Thanks, Jane.